Hello. Today you will gain the knowledge and skills to excel at your placement through the Introduction to Customer Service module. In this module, you will learn the benefits of providing good customer service, best practice for serving customers based on Zingerman's protocol, how to respond to upset and aggressive customers, and how to apply this knowledge to non-service jobs. You may have wondered as to what customer service actually is. It goes beyond just being available to provide customers with answers. In fact, customer service is everything a customer experiences before, during, and after they buy a good or use a service. Customer service can be described using the 4 P's. The first P is promptness. Speed is a very important aspect of customer service. Promptness is not just important in serving the customer, but also in greeting them. No one should wait around to be noticed. The second P is politeness. Even though you want to serve a customer quickly, you don't want them to feel rushed or like serving them is an issue. Next is professionalism. Though you want to be friendly and polite, you still want to make sure that you're being professional. Customers usually are there to get something, not to hang out. And finally, personalization. To really provide awesome customer service, there has to be a personal touch. If a customer is a regular, you can greet them by name. Besides, no one likes interacting with a robot. Now that we know what customer service is, why do businesses need it? This can be summed up in 3 points. The first being, great customer service helps a business stand out. Customers are needed for a business to compete against other similar businesses. Great service helps a business stand out from the rest. Something as simple as a smile, the capability of getting customers what they need or want, and a little enthusiasm makes a lasting positive impression on customers and the overall community. The second point, great service leads to great marketing. This means that word of mouth is some of the best advertising, and people especially like to talk when they receive awesome, memorable service. Finally, great service keeps customers coming back. If a customer receives great food, clothing, or whatever, but with poor customer service, they're still unlikely to return to an establishment. They'll spend their money somewhere else. Now, that's all great for business, but why should you care? What's in it for you? Now, there are several reasons why providing great customer service can be good for you. The first and most important is that you probably won't get fired. If you're doing your job well and making customers happy, then it would be bad for the business to lose you. You make yourself valuable to your boss, and they'll keep you around. Further, if you're on your boss's good side, they may be more open to your requests for time off or getting a raise. A more immediate benefit is that customers will tip you. Even if there's no tip jar, customers will still try and give you something extra if you make their day. If you provide solid customer service, you're also likely to spend less time arguing with customers. Finally, it's the right thing to do. Not only can you make a stranger's day a little better, but you would appreciate receiving good customer service, so you should also give it. Harder to provide great customer service than it is to just understand what it means. Great customer service can be provided in 3 general steps. The first being, find out what it is they want. This may sound pretty obvious, but people go to stores for different things. Some want a specific product, some may appreciate a particular brand of service, and some have formed bonds with the people that serve them. To find out specifically what a customer wants, it's okay to ask them questions. You probably shouldn't assume you know exactly what it is that they want. Once you figure out what they're looking for, you get it for them. To do this successfully, you have to be accurate. This means listening is a very important part of the equation. In the process, you also need to be polite. You don't have to treat the customer like royalty, but you definitely need to be respectful. A final component is enthusiasm. It's really unpleasant interacting with people that are unhappy. You don't have to love your work, but it's unprofessional to show the customer that you hate your job. Finally, the last step is to go the extra mile. Now, this looks different at every job, but some examples would be carrying someone's bag to their car, providing samples of a dish, or calling a customer to follow up on their experience. Now, it's important to know that no matter how great of an employee you are, there will always be a customer who is a jerk. If you encounter one of these people, try to be as polite as possible and serve them quickly. It's better that they take that attitude somewhere else. Here are some things you can do when a customer is upset. Even though it may not be your fault, some customers will look for someone to blame. Oftentimes, a customer can be aggressive and rude. In those situations, there's nothing you want to do more than give it right back to them. But almost always, it's better left in your head. A better course of action is to calm a customer down and get them out of the store. You need to acknowledge their anger. You need to apologize for the mistake, and you need to act to fix it. Acknowledging a customer really just means telling them that you hear their complaint. Customers need to feel like they're being heard and understood for being upset. Make sure you show concern through your tone of voice and your body language. This includes gentle eye contact, a caring tone of voice, avoiding defensive posture like folding your arms, and nodding your head. This makes it seem like you're paying attention to the customer. The next step is apologizing to the customer, which really just means owning up to the problem. A well-timed apology can calm a customer down, but it's important that this apology is, or at least sounds, sincere. A genuine apology is simple, without excuses, explanations, bullying, or brushing the customer off to someone else. When a customer is less stressed, it'll be easier to solve their problem. Now it's time to bust a myth. You've probably heard the expression, "the customer is always right." That's just not true. The customer is not always right. In fact, a lot of the time, customers are wrong. Even though they're wrong, they still need to be treated with respect and dignity. You may be wondering why you have to be polite to someone who is wrongly making a fuss, and the answer is pretty simple. If a customer is making a scene, they can be asked to leave the store. If you make a scene, you can get fired. The final step in dealing with an angry customer is acting, doing what you can to fix the problem. Before you act, you've got to ask. You may assume you know what the customer's issue is, but you can't know for sure unless you ask. Getting the customer what they need quickly can help calm them down, and it also saves you time. And it's also important to remember that if things are getting heated, or if the customer needs something that's complex, don't be afraid to get your manager. In a sense, that's what they're there for. Even if you handle the situation gracefully, some customers may be irrationally angry. It can be tricky talking to them. Here's a few things you can say to an angry customer. Oddly enough, a lot of these phrases thank the customer. Complaints from guests can actually help a business improve. For every customer who complains, there are almost always others who have remained silent. It's likely that those customers will choose to spend their money somewhere else. Now, you may not have a job that serves customers, but you can still apply what you've learned today to enhance other people's experiences. The first step in doing so is to think, who uses my goods? Who is benefiting from what I'm doing? It's important to expand your definition of customer. It doesn't have to be someone who comes in to buy something. It could be someone you speak to over the phone, someone who is visiting your facility, or it could even be your coworker or boss. The next step is to think, what are some achievable ways I can make their experience better? There are a lot of things you could do to brighten people's day that just aren't realistic. You should choose something that you can see yourself accomplishing. Once you've decided, you set out and you make it happen. To conclude, whether it's gaining loyal, lifelong customers or getting tipped, you and the business benefit from giving good customer service. It's important to know that some customers will always be angry. There's little you can do to calm them down, and most of the time, it's not your fault they're angry. When you meet one of these customers, acknowledge their frustration. Apologize for the inconvenience, and ask them what you can do to make it better. Finally, don't be afraid to ask your boss or coworkers for help. Remember, great service is given to one customer at a time. If they're engaged and are ultimately won over by someone going the extra mile, you and the business make an impact not only on that customer, but on the entire community. Thank you for your time, and I hope you've learned something great in the Introduction to Customer Service module.